from the VON Newsline. This is the VON Major Newscast.
Good evening. I am Tashan Tyson. In with your VON Major News package for today, Friday, 14th June 2019. In our lead stories, nationally, IPL chairman resigns. Government awaits GG's deliberations on new chairman. And new portrait of the Honorable Malcolm Guichard unveiled. Regionally, thousands in Haiti renew protests clashed with police. Internationally, U.S. says video shows Iran removing mine following tanker attacks. And in sports, Toronto Raptors 2019 NBA champions. We'll have the details of these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan.
Welcome back. Another national news in detail. Following the resignation of Chairman of the Integrity in Public Life IPL Commission, Mr. Damien Kelsick, government has sought to provide an update on that matter as to the way forward. The Federal Integrity Commission was officially commissioned on August 27, 2018. The other members of the commission are Mr. Dennis Knight and Mrs. Carol Boddy. Here is Attorney General the Honorable Vincent Byron Jr. shedding some light on the matter.
I am not privy to the actual reason that Mr. Kelsick has put forward as to his resignation, but there has been some issue as to questions of budgetary support and so forth. These, we believe, have been addressed from our end, but I cannot say exactly what the position is. What we do know is that we await His Excellency, through his own deliberations, to make a further appointment for a new chairman of the Integrity in Public Life Commission.
Attorney General the Honorable Vincent Byron Jr. The chairman was appointed by the Governor General as prescribed by the Act. The Integrity in Public Life IPL Ordinance Number 2 of 2013, which was passed in the National Assembly on September 9, 2013, is an ordinance establishing the Integrity Commission in order to ensure integrity in public life, to make provisions for a code of conduct, to obtain declarations of the assets, liabilities, income, and interest in relation to property of persons in public life for the offenses and abuse of public office, and to provide for related or incidental matters. The unveiling of the new portrait of the late Honorable Malcolm Guichard was held last evening, Thursday, 13th June, in Church Ground, Nevis, as part of special activities organized by the Church Ground community to honor the life and memory of Mr. Guichard, who was the area representative. The portrait was unveiled by one of the grandsons of Mr. Guichard, which was followed by loud cheers and applause. Speaking to the VON Newsline following the unveiling, President of the Church Ground Sports Club and Chair of the ceremony, Mrs. Wanda Parry-France, outlined the significance of the portrait.
The importance is mainly for our church-run community. He was very much involved in the church-run community. He was involved in the whole of Nevis, but his family is also from church-run, and he's usually there. And he helped out a lot of church-run youth. He's always there. We used to talk on the hill and all these things he used to do for church-run. So we just wanted to show his face in the village that he helped so many young people with.
Mrs. Wanda Parry-France. A brief presentation was made by Ms. Sheena Howell, who expressed gratitude for what Mr. Guichard accomplished for the community. Remarks were made by Premier of Nevis and Area Representative, the Honorable Mark Brantley, and the Honorable Eric Evelyn. Also in attendance at the ceremony were Her Honor, Mrs. Hyalita Liburd, Deputy Governor General, and Mr. Liburd, the Honorable Spencer Brand, and Mrs. Brand. The week of activities culminates on Saturday, 15 June, with a cleanup of the community at 6 a.m. and a fun day at the Church Ground Hard Court at 6 p.m. In other news,
Work is continuing at the cultural complex as we speak. and as we prepare for Culturama 45. We've done cosmetic work, and again, because we have such a good relationship with the media, we are making the media booths better. We're expanding them for the media practitioners. We have expanded the number of booths because we expect increased coverage from the media, and so we would want to make the media comfortable. Work at the complex will include the construction of a new and improved ticket booth, which will also bring enhanced conditions for persons operating there. There will also now be a permanent base for VIP, and a tent to cover the performance area of the stage is currently en route to Nevis, and that will ensure fewer interruptions during performances.
That's Premier of Nevis, Honorable Mark Brantley. Culturama 45 will be held from July 25th to August 6th, 2019. The slogan for the festival is Love, Passion, Pride, Culturama 45. Meantime, dubbed the Caribbean's Greatest Summer Lime, the launch of this festival began at 4:30 p.m. today and is anticipated to feature the 18 contestants. 6 contestants for the Miss Culture Queen pageant, 6 contestants for the Miss Culture Swimwear pageant, and 6 participants for the Mr. Cool competition. What makes the St. Kitts Music Festival different from other festivals? That's a question posed to head of the marketing division for the St. Kitts Music Festival, Mr. Val Henry. In an interview earlier today, here on VON Radio, Mr. Henry said that the festival serves as a product.
We at the St. Kitts Music Festival are youngsters compared to Culturama. We're just 23 years old, but we've been going. And the beauty of it is that other festivals in the Caribbean have come and have disappeared. So the St. Kitts Music Festival has maintained in terms of its existence since 1996. Ours is designed as purely entertainment, as a measure, as a product to attract visitors, and secondarily, but equally important, to create business activity in the island of St. Kitts.
Head of the marketing division for St. Kitts Music Festival, Mr. Val Henry. The 23rd annual St. Kitts Music Festival will be held from Thursday, June 27th to Sunday, June 29th, 2019. What is the status of the dialysis unit to be housed at Alexandra Hospital? Speaking at his monthly press conference on May 30th, 2019, Premier of Nevis, Honorable Mark Brantley, provided this update on the unit to the general public.
Dialysis, we are where we were, in the sense that we have not advanced the dialysis unit as yet. We have committed to having a dialysis unit in the new building that is being done, the expansion at Alexandra Hospital. We have been partnering in the meantime, however, with the Taiwanese on a 3-year program to train people and equip our workers, our nurses. We've had doctors and nurses who have been trained in Taiwan and who have come back now. We're in a much better position to start dialysis when we're ready. We've also had some financial assistance from the Taiwanese to purchase additional dialysis machines, and so we wait until we can comfortably house that unit.
Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley. Premier Brantley also indicated that individuals on Nevis who require that treatment are being treated on St. Kitts.
In the meantime, those requiring dialysis who are Nevisians and who are being dialyzed in St. Kitts have been doing so with assistance from the Nevis Island government. So nobody is being left out, nobody is being left behind. And nobody who wants care is being denied care. So I want to emphasize that. So because the dialysis unit in St. Kitts at the JNF Hospital is up and running, we have been able to use that unit and to ensure that our people who require that service. I believe at this point we may have 2, certainly no more than 3 patients from Nevis who are being dialyzed. That's the last information that I had. And they do receive, as I said, assistance from Nevis to ensure that they have access to that life-saving service.
The Honorable Mark Brantley. Construction of the new wing at the Alexandra Hospital began in 2017. After its completion, the new unit will house a new operating theater, a new private ward, a new physiotherapy department, a new laboratory, and a dialysis unit. Scholarship opportunities continue to be made available to individuals here in Nevis who wish to further their education. A release from the Ministry of Human Resources and the Nevis Island Administration has indicated that a number of scholarship offers have been made available to the Organization of American States OAS Partnerships Program for Education and Training. The offers are being made by 3 universities. The University for International Cooperation in Costa Rica is offering a scholarship for an online master's degree program. The deadline for scholarship applications is June 28, 2019. The University of South Carolina Aiken in the United States is offering a scholarship for an undergraduate degree program. The deadline for scholarship application is June 30th, 2019 and October 15th, 2019. The Galilee International Management Institute in Israel is offering a scholarship for a certificate program. The deadline for scholarship applications vary depending on the course. All courses will be taught in English. For more information including scholarship benefits, eligibility, the application process, and selection criteria, interested individuals are asked to contact the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on St. Kitts. And finally, the Clarence Fitzroy Bryan College CFPC will host a ceremony to inaugurate its 4th president of the institution. The event will be held on Wednesday, June 26th at 10 a.m. on the grounds of the main campus, Burton Street, Bastyr, St. Kitts. According to a release from the college, the ceremony will recognize and endow Dr. Jacqueline J. Austin, Ph.D., with presidential authority to the investiture of the college's medallion and keys. These represent the transfer of the responsibility and an obligation to promote and maintain the values of the institution. Established in 1988, the college provides education and training for students who, upon graduating, are able to make contributions to the social and economic development of their country according to cfbc.edu.kn. It was named after former politician and former cabinet minister Clarence Fitzroy Bryant. That's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com or check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
Ladies and gentlemen, this here's another one for the steppers.
Swipe to win big in 2019. That's right, the Bank of Nevis Limited is once again giving you, our valued customers, a chance to win big. Just swipe or use your Bond Visa credit card for US $100 for a chance to win a cruise for 2, an iPhone XS, or a grocery dash at Best Buy Supermarket.
Say what?
Sign up for a Bond Visa credit card and automatically be entered for a chance to win. This offer ends August 31st, 2019. So tell your friends and family to swipe to win big with the Bank of Nevis. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram.
Welcome back. Another regional news in detail. Out of Haiti. Concerns over rampant corruption in the government have grown after a Senate investigation found that at least 14 former government officials allegedly misused $3.8 billion under former President Michel Martelly. A protester yelled anti-government slogans as others held up pictures of ex-President Jean-Bertrand Aristide in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, Sunday, June 9th. Protesters denouncing corruption paralyzed much of the capital as they demanded the removal of President Jovenel Moïse. Thousands of protesters demanding the resignation of President Jovenel Moïse clashed with police Thursday as some tried to storm barriers outside the National Palace in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, while others sought shelter as heavy gunfire echoed in nearby streets. The demonstration came a day after Moïse broke his silence over the country's recent unrest and rejected demands that he step down over allegations of officials misusing funds from subsidized oil shipments from Venezuela under the PetroCaribe program. he denied any wrongdoing. Among those who joined the protests, which began peacefully, was 39-year-old Carl Henry Janvieri, who recently lost his job as a delivery man after his company laid people off amid record inflation. Out of Bermuda. A 22-year-old man will be sentenced on July 16th after he was found guilty of fatally shooting a Jamaican 2 years ago. According to the Jamaica Observer, Marlon Steed, married and father of a 4-year-old daughter, was murdered on November 3, 2017, as he ran for his life from Kiari Tucker, who chased him through the back street of Pembroke Parish. Tucker was found guilty on Thursday on charges that he murdered Steed and used a firearm to commit an indictable offense after 5.5 hours of deliberation. Justice Carlisle Greaves remanded Tucker into custody for sentencing on July 16th. The court heard that Steed, 30, was shot at least 3 times during the attack and died at the hospital where he had been rushed for treatment. Tucker was arrested the next day after police found him hiding under clothes in a closet in his godmother's apartment. In other news, in the U.S. Virgin Islands, the Committee on Rules and Judiciary voted Thursday to advance a sunscreen ban bill. They also voted to approve Governor Albert Bryan's choice to lead the Virgin Islands Territorial Emergency Management Agency, VISIMA, Daryl DeFrance Jashin. The bill prohibits the sale of the products already in the territory after September 30, 2020, or importation after December 31, 2019, and bans use in the U.S. Virgin Islands after January 1, 2021. And finally, out of Jamaica. The driver of the ill-fated minibus that plunged into a ravine on May 21st, killing 13-year-old Titchfield High School student Pranjal Justi Kumar and injured 23 others, has been charged with 3 counts in relation to the incident. Deputy Superintendent in charge of the Portland, Dwayne Wellington, disclosed at the Portland Municipal meeting yesterday that bus driver Shane McPherson is charged with causing death by dangerous driving, excess passengers, and having no insurance coverage. He appeared in the Port Antonio Parish Court on Wednesday. He was arrested and charged and offered bail at the sum of $300,000 to return to court on September 11th on the condition that he does not drive another public passenger vehicle until the case is tried and completed, said DSP Wellington. Kumar's parents, who are from India, returned home with his body for burial shortly after the incident. The boy's father is a doctor at the Anoto Bay Hospital. That's it for regional news. Stay with us from news from around the world. Welcome back, and now the international news in detail. The U.S. military has released a video which it says shows Iranian special forces removing an unexploded mine from the side of an oil tanker damaged in an attack in the Gulf of Oman on Thursday. The U.S. also released images of the Japanese tanker apparently showing the unexploded mine before it was removed. A Norwegian tanker in the Gulf also reported being hit by 3 blasts. The U.S. accused Iran of being behind the attacks. The blast came a month after 4 oil tankers were damaged in an attack off the coast of the United Arab Emirates. However, in the wake of the video, Iran said it was categorically rejected the allegation. Here is more from the BBC's Frank Gardner.
An actual war would be incredibly damaging for everybody. Iran's missiles could hit desalination plants, for example. They would hit oil and gas installations. They'd hit US military camps. The US would absolutely devastate Iran's defences. That's if it went full on. It would be more likely a case of cyber and small skirmishes. The risk of these is quite high at the moment because these ships, the US Fifth Fleet and its allies, are in very close proximity to all the IRGC Navy boats.
Women across Switzerland have begun a day of demonstrations against what they say is the country's unacceptably slow pace to equality. Today's protest comes 28 years after similar action saw 500,000 women take to the streets in 1991. Swiss women have a long campaign to accelerate the pace of gender equality. The BBC's Imogen Folks reports.
All morning, women have been pouring into the square outside Switzerland's parliament. Their demands: equal pay for equal work and an end to sexual discrimination. For decades, Swiss women have complained about the slow pace of equality. They didn't even get the right to vote until 1971. And although maternity leave and equal pay are now enshrined in law, women here earn on average 20% less than men.
The World Health Organization has decided not to declare a global emergency over the Ebola crisis in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The WHO said Ebola was very much an emergency in the region, but it did not pose a global threat. However, it was damning of countries for giving less than half the money needed to deal with the disease. Acting chair of the WHO Emergency Committee, Dr. Preben Evislan, explained the reason for their decision.
While the outbreak is an extraordinary event and there's risk of international spread, we believe that the ongoing response would not be enhanced by formal temporary recommendations from WHO under the international health regulations.
And finally, Interpol says 5 key suspects in Easter Sunday bomb attacks on Sri Lankan churches and hotels have been extradited from the Middle East. The 5 include the main suspect in the killing of 2 policemen last year at a checkpoint in eastern Sri Lanka in an attack blamed on Islamic extremists. The BBC's Electra Smith reports.
A special police team accompanied the 5 suspects back to Sri Lanka. Among them is Mohammed Milan. The 29-year-old Sri Lankan national is also the main suspect in last year's killing of 2 policemen at a checkpoint in Batticaloa, blamed on Islamist militants. He's wanted on murder and terrorism charges. There's been no word, though, on what specific part the 5 suspects might have played in April's suicide bombings that killed more than 250 people.
That brings us to the end of our news segments. The latest in sports is next.
See you, John. Betty, how come you never tell me what's going on up at TDC?
Well, I'm glad you asked because TDC Automotive has some awesome deals. Get the car a new spare tire for just $100 plus VAT. And they have selected tires for 30% off. And for the Jeep, if you buy a selected Goodyear tire, you can get a second one for just $99.
Well.
And not finished yet. They're offering up to 30% off selected Valvoline oils and universal car mats and a whopping 50% off Energix batteries.
TDC Automotive not making no joke. I going up there now.
Welcome back. Another sports in detail. The Toronto Raptors became the 2019 NBA champions Thursday, and they are the first team outside the U.S. to do it. Game 6 of the NBA Finals was tight, going back and forth between the Raptors and the Golden State Warriors. But the Raptors took the game in the end with a 114-110 for a 4-2 series victory. The match ended the 2019 championship series and was a first-time win for the Raptors, who made their NBA Finals debut in their 24th season. Kawhi Leonard, the all-star forward Toronto, acquired last summer from San Antonio, was named Finals MVP for the second time. Leonard is the third player to win the award with more than one franchise, along with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and LeBron James. Raptors point guard Kyle Lowry and forward Pascal Siakam put up spectacular performances as well, each with 26 points. Klay Thompson of the Golden State Warriors injured his left knee late in the third quarter. He was eventually diagnosed with a torn ACL. In cricket, England hammered West Indies in Southampton to take a significant step towards the World Cup semi-finals, but sustained injuries to Owen Morgan and Jason Roy along the way. Roy hurt his left hamstring and Morgan suffered a back spasm, both while fielding. Despite those setbacks, England dismissed West Indies for only 212 thanks to the hostility of pace pair Jofra Archer and Mark Wood, who took 3 wickets each. Still, the target could have been tricky because of the questions surrounding the participation of Roy and Morgan and the previous potency of the West Indies attack. However, stand-in opener Joe Root, who had already taken 2 wickets with the off breaks, stroked his way to a classy unbeaten century. He added 95 for the first wicket with Johnny Bairstow, then 104 with Chris Woakes, who was promoted to number 3 as England won by 8 wickets with 16.5 overs to spare. Summarized score: West Indies 212 in 44.4 overs, Pooran 63, Wood 3 for 18, Archer 3 for 13. England 213 for 2 in 33.1 overs. Wood 100 not out, Bairstow 45, Gabriel 2 for 49. England won by 8 wickets. In more cricket, Michael Holding has hit back at censorship by the ICC following a request to tone down his views on umpiring while commentating on the World Cup. The former West Indies fast bowler, who remains among the most popular and respected voices in cricket, described the officiating in last week's match between his former team and Australia as atrocious on air following a string of on-field errors. These included Chris Gayle receiving 2 reprieves while being given out 3 times in a space of 9 balls, the last of which followed a huge front no ball by the Mitchell Starc, the previous delivery that was missed by the umpire Chris Gaffney, and Jason Holder being adjudged LBW to a ball that pitched outside leg stump, albeit saved on review. According to the Times of India, Holding's withering assessment prompted an email from Hugh Bevan, the production head of the International Cricket Council rights partner, Sunset and Vine. Bevan reminded the 65-year-old and some production colleagues of the importance of maintaining the highest standards and uphold the game's best values and spirit while covering the tournament. In a terse reply, Holder questioned why he was the only commentator included on the email chain and added, if those umpires yesterday were FIFA officials, they would have been told to pack their bags and head home. They would not have been given another World Cup game to officiate. As a former cricketer, I think cricket should be held to a higher standard if the objective is to protect the umpires even when they do a bad job. Holding and the ICC have stated the matter has been resolved, with Holding continuing to broadcast from the tournament. That's it for sports. The general weather forecast is next. Welcome back, and now the local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. Weather tonight will be partly cloudy to locally cloudy with 50% or moderate chance of brief passing showers. Weather tomorrow will be partly cloudy with a 40% or moderate chance of a brief morning and late afternoon shower. Winds are east with average speeds between 8 to 14 knots or 15 to 26 kilometers per hour. Seas are 1.2 to 1.8 meters or 4 to 6 feet. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 5:36 a.m. And that's our wrap up the major news package for today, Friday, 14th June 2019. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, IPL chairman resigns. Government awaits GG's deliberations on new chairman. and new portrait of the Honorable Malcolm Guichard unveiled. Regionally, thousands in Haiti renew protests clash with police. Internationally, U.S. says video shows Iran removing mine following tanker attacks. And in sports, Toronto Raptors 2019 NBA champions. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Tashwan Tyson, wishing you a pleasant and enjoyable weekend.
When VON vibrates.